To stand out from your fellow designers, you need to use the design principles to create a unique style of design that will make you stand out. In this video, I will show you how to use a modern graphic design idea to create a design that will make you stand out. Without wasting much time, let's jump right in. So let's begin by creating a new project. Let's go to File, New, and from the new document settings, let's choose A4 and now click on Create. Make sure to follow these settings and then click Create. Now, the second step is to bring in the resource files. With this, I will put the link in the description for you to download and follow along. There are two ways we can import or bring in our resources. The first option is to go to File, Place Embedded. Then you locate your resource file from here. From the File Explorer, you locate your file and then you click Place. Another way is to go straight to your File Explorer and locate your resource file. Now, the only thing you need to do is to click and drag into your project. With this, the next thing that we need to do is to scale it up. So place your cursor here and make sure to hold Alt or Option and then increase the size of it. So now let's place it well. And after that, you can press Enter on your keyboard or you can click on this icon. So right now that we placed in our subject, make sure you select the Move tool and then make the necessary adjustment by repositioning your subject. So in this case, I will increase it a little bit. So right now, this part is okay for me. Now with this design, you have so many ways of designing this kind of posters. So in this video, I'm going to show you two different ways that you can design this. So let's begin with the first approach. With the first approach, you have the chance to edit the text, but not the background. And with the second approach, you have the chance to edit the background, but you cannot edit the text. So let's first work on the first approach. So right now we have our subject in here. Select the rectangle tool and make sure the color is set to fill color is set to white, stroke is set to none. And now come in here and create a shape like this. Good. So the next thing that we need to do is now to bring in our typography. So now let's go and select the type tool, right click and select the type tool and make sure you choose a color for it. You can set any color for now and click in here. Now let's type anything. So I will type hope. Now we want our text to be vertical. So you can do this in two different ways. The first one is by typing it in this form and then hitting enter to create a vertical form of text. Okay. So let me bring it down a little bit for you to know what I'm talking about. Okay, now this is a way that you can write the text in a vertical form. The other way is to right click on a type tool and now choose vertical type tool. So with this, you can easily type your text in a vertical form. So we type in hope and you are good to go. So let me position it here. Good. So we are going to make use of this instead of using this particular way. So let's delete the second text. Now double click on the text thumbnail and within the fonts, let's search for Montserrat's fonts. With the Montserrat font, I'm going for Montserrat Black. So we need to do some adjustment. So from here, what we need to do is to reduce the spacing. So double click on the thumbnail to highlight all the text and let's choose the character panel. From here, the spacing is where we are going to work on. So we have it, we need to put it at 0 first and we want them to come a little bit closer to each other. So let's go for minus 50 or minus 100. These are not all right for us, so you can click and drag it over here to see the effect really well. So we want it around minus 200, which is okay, and you can still increase the font size. So in this case, I'm going to type 220. Okay, so there around that is okay for me. Or you can also press Ctrl Command T to transform and then hold Alt to bring it down a little bit. After that, you hit enter. So I'm going to maintain the original size of it. So now we need to position it. Let's bring it all the way to the left. So now what we want to achieve is to see our subject through the text and at the same time the rectangular shape that we created. And this was what I said we are going to create it in two different ways. Let's create a new document in a new tab to demonstrate what I talked about earlier. Let's select this and hold your shift and select the rest of it. So right click and go to duplicate layers, and from document we want to create a new one. Okay, so let's maintain it as it is so that it will name it as Untitled 1 and then Untitled 2. So let's click OK. We have two different versions of it, so let's work with the first approach. Like I said earlier, what we want to achieve is to see the subject through this. We have so many ways of doing that, so let's go with the first approach. The first one is we are going to create this document in a way that you can edit the text whenever you visit this document back, but not the background. So let's see how it works. First, we need to convert this to background. Okay, so this is the background and this is the subject that we brought in. So let's select both, right click and merge them together. So now this has become our background. The subject now has become part of our background, right? So with this, we can double click on the right side of the text layer. This will bring out the layer style. You can also go back, you can select the text, and from the FX, which is the layer style, you can even bring in the blending option. Or the other way around, you can right click and go for the blending option. This is how to bring the layer style out. Alright, so from here, what you're going to do is make sure blending option is still selected or active. Okay, so right now when we take out the fill opacity, you see that the text disappears, and when you bring it back, you see that it comes back again. From the knockout, it is set to none already, so click and now choose shadow. Now go back to the fill opacity and now reduce it. Now we can see through the text, move the text and then the rectangle. Another thing that we need to do right here, let me click OK and then zoom in so that you can see things clearly. Another thing that we want to achieve here is we don't see the other part or the edge of this text since it is blend in with the subject. We need to create a border around it. So go to FX and you can go straight to blending option, but you can also decide to go to stroke, because even if we choose blending options, we will still visit stroke. So let's go straight to stroke, and from the stroke, let's select the text and then FX stroke. With the stroke, the first thing that we need to do is to set the color. So let's pick a color from here which will match everything that we have from the rectangle. So now that we have, and let's reduce this to around 10 so that we have a tiny border. Make sure this part position is set to either center or outside, because when you set it to inside, this is what will happen. When you increase it, you see that the fill opacity only affects the inside of the text, and when you set it to center, it affects both inside and outside of the text. So I will recommend you to choose outside and then type in 10 for the size of the stroke. Click OK when you are done. Now, this is what I was talking about. You can edit the text whenever you visit your document, but you cannot edit the background. Let's go and check it. So right now, when you select the background and try to make changes, you want to resize it, press Ctrl Command T and you see no effect unless you unlock. So let's unlock it. And when you unlock it, this tells you that whatever that you apply to the text, which is the fill effect, will not work because this is not considered to be a background. And what it tells you is anything, any obstacle that comes between the text and the background should be out. So let me show you something. Let's create a new shape from here. So select the rectangle shape and let's choose a different color. And let's try to create something above this or in between the background layer and in the text layer and see the difference. Let's select the background and then let's try to create something from here. Okay, so now you see the difference. You see what I was talking about? All right, and with this, let's see what happens. So let's try to edit the text. So now double click and let's try to type something different. Let's try to edit the text. We type in do. And you see that you still can see through the tube or whatever. Let's try another text or another word and you see everything works perfectly. Let's try to edit the background to see what I was talking about. So I first said you can edit the text but you can't edit the background. So select the background and let's try to apply some effects to it. So let's go to color lookup, and from the color lookup option, let's choose any of these to see the difference. So you see that the new color look effect that we've applied only affects this side. But wherever that you can see through wasn't affected when we apply the color lookup. See the difference? So now let's go to the second approach. With this, we are not going to create any background for it. We are going to maintain the background, the subject, the rectangle shape, and then the text itself. What we are going to do is make a selection of this text. You can do it in different ways. You can select the magic wand tool and select the text layer and make sure you click to select any of these. Now press and hold the shift and then select these one after the other. Now imagine you have multiple text, like thousands of text. How are you going to select all one after the other? So what you have to do is to press or hold down the control and then click on the thumbnail of the text. This will help you select all of the text. Right. So now let's choose the rectangle shape. This one, this is the rectangle shape. And you can hide the text layer for now since we have the selection already. So what we are going to do is to mask that area out. We are going to take the active areas, which is the selected areas, out. So let's go to layer mask. So let's create a layer mask for it, and it's taking out the rectangle shape and filling in with this. So to do the opposite, make sure the thumbnail is selected, the mask thumbnail is selected, and press Ctrl or Command I to invert it. So it's doing it in a vice versa. When we press hold down Alt and click, and this will tell you that the black areas are taken out and the white areas are now visible. So let's go back. Okay, you see that we have the same way that we did as in the previous one or the first approach. So we have this. So let's bring it back and go to layer style and blending option. So with this tool, we need to take out the fill opacity because we don't need the text anymore, but we want a stroke for it. So let's create a stroke, and we have the previous settings, so we are going to maintain it as it is. Make sure you set it to outside, and then the size should be 10. The color should match the rectangular shape color. So click OK, and we have it the same way. Now with this, you can't edit the text. Now let's see the difference when you type in the dupe. Right now you don't see, you can't have it, okay, because that area is masked out, and this doesn't really apply really well. With this, anything that you apply to the background affects even the mask area. Okay, so let's go to color lookup and let me choose this one. And now you can see that anything applied to the background has been affected in even the areas that we've maxed out. There we go. But you can't edit the text. So whenever you visit this, you can edit, but with the first one, you can always edit the text the way that you want. So let me type in the game, and there we go. But I prefer to use the second approach because you can edit the background any way that you want. The only thing is to just mask out whenever you apply or type in a new text. So the only thing is now we have to create a new text. So we don't need this anymore. Or double click, type in the dope as you want. Now we have dope as our text. Now with this, we need to delete the layer mask or fill it with white. So let's delete it, right click and delete layer mask. So let's do it again, select it and create another layer mask for it. And let's embed it and we are good to go. Like that. The reason why I prefer this is because anytime, anywhere, you can make changes as to the background. Okay, so let's see. Let's select this one and let's go back to our source file. And with this, I'm going to bring in this particular image. Right, so let me increase the size a little bit and reposition it here and hit enter. All right, so now let me hide the color lookup and we have this beautiful look. But when you go to the first approach or with the first approach, let's try to bring in a new picture or subject. Let's plug this in and increase the size and position it well. So now let's hide the color lookup and you still have the previous photo in this and nothing looks like we've made a proper changes here, but you can only or always edit the text. But with this, the background is gone and everything looks like. Whenever you bring in a new subject, you are good to go. So with this, we need to do some final touches. Okay, let's add in something a little bit to make it look extraordinary. This will make your design stand out. Don't forget, we are going to apply some basic principles of design, which is alignment. From here, let's select this tool and move it a little bit to the right side. Okay. So one trick is you can even link these two, which is the shape and then the mask, and with that you can even move the shape around, even if you want to apply or test your design skills or something or whatever, you see. So you can do that, or you can still bring in the link. When the link is on, it means when you move this, it will move the mask out from here. Okay, and we don't want that. So anytime you want to move it, you can or link it and then move the shape around. So let's add something a little more. So let's go here. I can change. Let's change the color of it to white, something that will match the color over here, because we are not going to combine so many colors. We need to use 2 or 3 colors. All right, so we are good to go. So now let's do the final retouching on the final touch, which is the color lookup. Let's go back, bring it back, and you can play around with the color lookups. So double click on this thumbnail and choose any of these, or play around with which one looks better for you. I think I have my favorites over here. So I think I'm going to make use of this, even though it is too dark. That is not what we want. Or you can still play around. Okay, there you go. That is it. So I love to use this one since it's going to give you a little pop-up from the text. I'm going to make use of it. And the final one is to apply gradient. So the black gradient, make sure you choose black and then keep transparent, but set both points to black. Okay, make sure both points are set to black. Click OK. Now with here, set radial invert. Okay, radial invert. Now increase this scale a little bit to around 200 and click OK. And when you double click, you can even play around with it. So if you want it to be this way, you get it. If you want it to be here, you will get it. So all right, so this is the final outcome of it. And if you really want, you can even add your social media handles over here, or you can place them over here. You can even add a little more if you want. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure you stay inspired. Create more, do practice. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.